This is Watching with WANE.
Welcome back to Watching with WANE. If you don't know who I am, it's been about 9 weeks. Clayton's been taking over for me, but we got the whole crew: Courtney, Clayton, Logan, Lydia, and myself. Guys, we got a little to talk about, and Survivor. I'll let Logan take it away.
Yeah, well, first off, we're super excited that Mike is back. So we've got the gang back together.
Great to be back.
We're super happy you're here. Every week we've sort of been giving just a little bit of an update, on our standings. I know Clayton doesn't want me to go over the standings, but I'm going to. But for our fantasy draft, our top 5, I'm in first place, of course. And then Shane's in second, Adam's in third, Clayton's in fourth, Taylor's in fifth, and then in last place still is Hannah. Hannah couldn't be in this one.
Who knows she's not on the show today.
Yeah, notice she's not here.
Yeah.
She couldn't be here today. Personally, I'm sure she didn't want to have to talk about being in last for, I think, the 6th week in a row
Pretty
now.
much,
Yeah. Episode 6, it was called The Blood Moon, because Jeff said it was going to be like the biggest twist in Survivor history, and it was a big twist. 3 people voted out, and the 3 people who were voted out did not make the jury, so they will not get to decide who will win Survivor 50. And before they got to the challenge, they had to look for what was called an advantage. Of course, Ozzy, like most advantages this season, he finds the advantage, and he got to pick someone to go with him on this trip. So, Clayton, you probably got some points from that because Ozzy is
I think so, yeah.
your guy. He picked Rizzo, or Rizgod, as he likes to call himself, to go with him. They went to Exile Island. So I don't know how you felt about that.
I still don't even really know what that means, but I think you said that it just means he won't be able to, like he won't get kicked out, but he just won't get points for a little bit.
Yeah, so it was a little different because back in the day, if you went to Exile, you had to, compete against whoever you were with.
Okay.
And then if you lost, you went home. But for this one, they just had them stay there. And so they didn't get to vote, but also they weren't on the chopping block, which was probably really good for both of them because they're both pretty big threats. So they didn't get to vote, but when they went to the challenge, they got split into groups of 5. And so there was an orange group, a teal group, and a pink group. And I'm going to go from the most lucky to the least lucky groups. So orange group, we have Camilla, Tiff, Jonathan, Stephanie, and Chrissy. And this group, it was sort of like a hodgepodge mix of people, and then Jonathan was right in the middle. Of course, if you've watched the episode, Jonathan ends up jumping ship, and they vote out Camilla, which was a pretty good move for him. It seems like he wants to play with the group that has, Coach and Chrissy and Stephanie and stuff. But obviously Tiff was pretty mad, so they went back. But Camilla, she was probably the most lucky of the 3 people voted out. Even though she did get voted out, I think that the other 2 were a lot less lucky than she was, but we'll get there. So then we have our second group of people who are voting: Dee, Emily, Suri, Coach, and Colby. This one was super sad. If you're an OG Survivor fan, you could tell that it was either going to be Coach or Colby, and both of them were from some of the earliest seasons of Survivor. And then they ended up voting out Colby. Again, a smart move because Suri, Emily, and Dee aren't aligned with them, but still super sad. You could sort of tell he was going to go home because he started talking about, this is the best time he's ever had while he played, and, it was everything he hoped it was going to be, and
Justice
how it's the most fun he's had.
Colby.
Justice for Colby. My mom was crying, super hard when he got voted out. She loves him. Alyssa Ivinson told me, she was crying when he got voted out. Taylor was crying. He is an OG, Survivor national treasure. So that was super sad.
I just thought of something. I just realized when you were on, it was Beats of Fort Wayne. So you've never been on Watching with Wayne before. Have you watched Survivor at all?
I have not. I'm really
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, you're really
this
just along for this ride. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you're speaking a different language.
Yeah,
Des.
I'm learning as I go, yeah.
Yeah, these names really don't mean anything for Courtney. She just has to sort of sit through this part for
That's
our
fine.
normal
Yeah.
watchers.
I'm learning a lot.
But then we get to our third group, and possibly the most unlucky Survivor player I've seen in 50 seasons of the show. which is Genevieve. She gets stuck
It's not a
with
Survivor.
Aubrey, Christian, Devins, and Joe. So Aubrey obviously has been getting for her from the very beginning. Aubrey has an idol that she seems like she's going to play. She wants Genevieve out. And then also Genevieve is stuck with Aubrey, Christian, Devins, who clearly have a pre-made alliance. So they're going to vote for her. Genevieve found 2 idols that she couldn't use because they're the stupid Billie Eilish boomerang idols that she has to send to someone else. And then none of her allies are with her. And I just hate when they get split up. Like I've said before that I just hate when people get split up and they don't get to play with their allies or with any of the things that they have found, which they're not technically merged yet. So hopefully now that they're actually merged, they won't do that anymore. But my thing is, if I was on Survivor and I made it to the merge, you should have to vote me out with all my allies there. Like, I should have to get, 10 votes to vote me out. But instead, I hate when they split them up with, 4 people who obviously were going to vote for Genevieve. And she plays her shot in the dark, which doesn't work still. And, yeah, she gets voted out. So, justice for Genevieve. Super mad for her. And then at the end, obviously, she goes out with Grace and gives Aubrey her jacket.
That was very nice.
Yeah.
Kill him with kindness.
And Aubrey even looked like she was like, oh my gosh, was that a bad thing for me to do? But too late now. So we'll see if it was a good move or not. But yeah,
I think
thought it
the
was a good
real
episode.
story this week, at least, show aside, is you didn't mention the points. The amount of points on the Survivor
There's
draft.
some key
Oh my
information
gosh.
missing here.
Yes. So there is some propaganda going around the
Oh my
newsroom.
gosh.
You're lucky I'm not the host this week. There would have been some graphics made. There would have been-
Yes, there's propaganda going around, which, mind you, Clayton wasn't privy to this conversation I had yesterday where Shane and I spoke with each other because Shane was accusing me of cheating in our Survivor draft, saying that he thinks I've been looking up who's getting voted out each week. Mind you, you cannot do this because I don't even know how you would be able to see
She's a
who got voted
CBS
out.
producer, folks. Don't let
Yes,
it be.
Dan thinks
don't let it
I
be
am
twisted.
somehow metagaming and seeing who's getting voted out. But I talked to Shane about it, and I was like, Shane, this is like my Super Bowl. I would never want to spoil for myself who is getting voted out, and there's no glory in winning by cheating. Also, this finale is going to be
glory.
a live finale. So I don't even think the people who played know who won. Which, I mean, I guess maybe they could tell each other who they voted for. But this season, it's a little different than ones past because they're bringing back the live,
So Logan's number 1. in the
reveal.
pool.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
'cause-
of course
'cause
I
they
am.
filmed it
I'm
about
not
a
surprised.
year ago, right?
What'd you say?
Don't they usually film the episode about a year prior to when
So
it airs?
they have filmed everything 6 months ago, but they're doing a live finale this year.
Okay.
So they're going to reveal who won live this
Mm-hmm.
time, which they used to do. So they're going to read the votes live, in front of an audience this year, which they haven't done
And-
for decades.
You still haven't said how many points you're ahead.
Oh, I'm ahead by 25 points, but mind
For
you,
sure.
20 of these points came from last week.
Collusion.
20 of these points came from last week. So really, I'd only be ahead by 5 points if I hadn't gotten so many points last week.
Mm-hmm.
Because I put 10 points on Genevieve, which I had done the last 4 weeks and gotten no points from. And then I put 10 points on Camilla because I told Lydia that I thought since she was in the middle of the last one, she might get voted out. Mind you, no one thought I was cheating when I was in dead last place the first week, and Clayton thought it was hilarious. But now that I'm on
It was
top,
pretty funny.
everyone thinks I'm cheating.
It
But
was
no,
pretty
I was talking to Shane about it, and he was like, no. He's like, I don't actually think you're cheating. I just thought it was funny. And I was like, well, now everyone thinks I'm cheating. But no, I'm not cheating.
Even Sierra was calling
I'm
me
so
out.
sorry.
She
Yes,
came in
and
the
Sierra's not
Survivor
even in the draft, but I was like, no, I would never ruin it for myself by looking it up.
Sure, yeah.
And we don't even know
draft.
who
No,
won.
Mike's skeptical.
Yeah, Mike's
It
just feeding into this
sounds like
delusion.
Logan knows everything there is to know about Survivor. Even
I'm
even
a- I'm
who's
a pro.
even who's
Too
getting
much.
voted out. It's
Almost
just
knows a
you know.
little too much.
I'm just a pro when
That's
it comes
funny.
to Survivor. Also,
you should try out.
I have also done a fantasy draft the last 3 years, so I feel like sometimes
Ah.
you can sort of get a feel for who you think's gonna get voted out. But I didn't get any voting points for 3 weeks in a row, and then I got a lot last week. Then everyone was like, "Oh my god, you're cheating!" I was like, No one thought I was cheating when I was in 5th place for like 4 weeks in a row, but now that I'm in 1st,
I'm pretty sure they're just
It's
poking
fine.
fun.
I know.
Just poking the bear.
I know. Clayton just thinks it's
I didn't
hilarious.
say that.
Yeah, no.
Clayton
is so
Clayton
serious.
Clayton's so serious.
Never
but,
underestimate the connections of a CBS producer.
Wow.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
Well, no
Yeah,
matter
Clayton
what the
thinks I'm getting
truth
inside
is,
scoop.
no matter what the truth is, let's be clear, we aren't even playing for money
Yeah.
in this draft.
Yes.
This is
Also,
all purely
we're
going
not
to be
playing
bragging
for
rights.
like a monetary gain.
Yeah.
So, but my family is draft though. We do play for money. So
Oh.
that one, I actually have one of the same people drafted for both too. So I need Chrissy to like have a generational play because I have her in both my drafts. So we'll see. But yeah, but that's our standings.
All
so.
very foreign to me. I know it's Lydia's first year watching, so.
Yeah, it is. And I've really enjoyed it so far. I think the entertainment in here between Logan and Clayton has been fueling me just as much as watching the actual show itself. But it's been nice to get into a little competition.
Yeah, we got a new fan now, a new
Yes.
Survivor fan because Lydia really likes it. So.
Totally.
The
That's
real
good.
question is when is Christian gonna get voted out? You could put me in last as long as this guy.
Oh
doesn't
my
win.
gosh.
That's
It's
where
so
I'm
funny
at.
because Christian, like, I feel like some people love him and some people like hate him, just depending on what you think about
What side
him.
are you on?
I loved him on his first season. I think the issue with this season is they're showing him so much that if you don't like him, of course you're gonna hate him. They're over editing him. I think.
Okay.
I think they haven't been showing the women enough. They need to
Yeah.
start showing the women more.
That is true.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there's your Survivor recap. Still getting the hosting back, but yeah, we're gonna transition to the Michael Jackson movie. That is Courtney's topic of the day. How do you feel about it?
Mike, let me tell you. I am so excited about this movie. It is called Michael, obviously. When did I even find out that this movie was being released? Probably a couple months ago via TikTok, actually.
Is it the end of the month,
Of
right?
course.
Releasing it?
It is
Yeah.
releasing April 24th.
Okay.
So what is that? Couple
Just
weeks?
a couple
Yeah,
weeks
couple
from
weeks
now.
away,
Yeah, listen, I'm going to be in the theaters. There's a lot I could talk a lot about this movie. I've got my little notes here. I'll leave them right there. Something I think is really cool, obviously, about the life of Michael Jackson. But it's only to like his childhood up into like the start of his like pop fame, like biggest superstar in the world. And so I think that's really interesting that you're going to be able to see kind of like his childhood as well, because I know a lot of people have heard about that and then seen, like me and Lydia were talking about yesterday, how is his father going to be portrayed? How is his family and Jackson 5 going to be portrayed? So I think that's going to be really interesting. But my favorite part about this movie is that they actually are starring a Jackson as Michael Jackson. So Jafar Jackson, he is Jermaine's son. He had never been an actor before this movie, which is crazy to me because just watching some of it, I'm like, this kid, never had any dreams of acting and is now like encapsulating, yes, it's his uncle, but like one of the like biggest pop stars the world has ever seen. And I kind of have watched so many I guess like podcasts, but also then just interviews like on talk shows and stuff. And it wasn't like they were like, okay, this guy's like a Jackson family member. We'll just like cast him. Like he said he had to go through like 2 years of auditioning and actually worked with Rich and Tone, which were Michael's actual choreographers that he used. Worked with both of them. Did the same, like when they did Thriller, they did it in the same exact location. He said there was a full moon that night, which is crazy. So it's just really interesting stuff that you can see like him, like you can see the progress working through it. And it's so cool to me to see like the process behind something like that. Cause it's like, I don't know how many times I've tried to moonwalk before, but it doesn't go great. So, I mean, this Jafar was like, my feet were bleeding at some points because I'm trying to learn how to like master every single move and mannerism and the voice. Like I was talking to Lydia yesterday. I was like, when you see this guy talk, it's like, oh my gosh, that sounds exactly like Michael, like when it's just in conversation. So it's going to be so interesting to see. And then obviously I've been a Michael Jackson fan. I wish I was alive when he was alive. Well, I was.
You were.
No,
You
I
were.
was, but like I was like 5 when he died,
Yeah.
like something
old
like
enough
that.
to see him
I
in
wish
concert.
yes, like
Yeah.
I wish I could experience it because it's literally nothing
You were
like
only 5?
when he
He
died in 2009,
2008 or 2009.
2008.
Oh my, that makes me.
I was
feel
born in
old.
03. Yeah, so well, I would have been 6. Sorry.
Still,
Still.
blows my mind.
Yeah, no, so yeah. So I've watched so many videos of just like his performances and like what he was like, and I was like, I've never seen anything like that. Because I know like people have talked about like Justin Timberlake or like Chris Brown or like Usher with like dancing and kind of that performance, but I'm like, nobody has ever come to that like near what I feel like his like presence and performance and just everything. It's just really cool to me. So I know that was a long answer, but that's kind of my first take on. I'm very excited to see how they tell this. And something that I think is really cool, Graham King, he also did Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was fantastic. And I think it's really cool to see, like, once he got the rights to tell Michael's story with the music and all of that, he had already done the Queen one. So it was like, okay, you already know, like, the principles and, like, the, I don't know, just the feel that you need in a biopic. So I think now, like, it kind of feels like it's in good hands when it comes to, like, who's producing this film.
Well, you also look at not only the Queen movie, but I mean, there's been so many movies of so many different artists that I feel like there has to be a Michael Jackson movie. It's just eventually when is the question.
Yeah.
And now later this month, Courtney's gonna have a front row seat to.
Yes, and I feel so bad because I didn't get the outfit for today, I will say.
I know that the biopic train just keeps on rolling. It seems like there have just been so many biopics in the last 5-10 years.
One Direction will probably be a movie, right?
Listen, don't start that
Do
conversation.
we want to go down that rabbit hole?
Don't start the conversation. I want it to happen. I wish they did that.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm kind of like trying to glance at your notes here to see what
go
all
for
you
it.
wrote down. Because I believe a lot of his like family and like his attorney, like a lot of his like MJ's group, what was involved in the making of this movie, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I would hope so, at
yeah.
least.
So well, because I think especially it'll be because like you said, if it's from his like childhood until like he really got big, then yeah, obviously I think them having an influence in the movie will be good for it.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. Because I've seen, like, and this is just going off of, like, what Jafar has said, but somebody, I think, in a Today Show interview was like, how does your family think of this? Like, because it's not like Michael's here to tell it himself, you know? So you know, obviously have to be careful and be intentional and genuine as to, like, who are you portraying? And so they specifically asked about his grandmother, which would have been Michael's mom, and I guess she said to Jafar, like, there's times where I didn't know if you were my son or you were you. Like, and so he was like, that's the biggest compliment anybody could ever tell me because, yes, this is my uncle. And, like, we would go to his house and, like, ride all the rides at his amusement park and, like, spend time. But, like, this was also, like, one of the world's most loved people at one time. So I think it's really cool to, like, include that because, like, even what we were talking about with Lydia, like, a very touchy subject is going to be how they portray his father, just because of everything, how the Jackson 5 came to be, what were they pushed to, and are we ever going to know the truth? Like, what, you know, it truly was? I mean, no. But that's kind of what the part of, like, filmmaking is like, how is that going to be portrayed and how is that going to affect, like, what it comes out to be. So it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see how that, you know, happens as well.
Well, and kind of along those lines, I think maybe the one thing, just doing some, I mean, when you first told me about it yesterday, was doing some research. I think one thing that could maybe be a little, like, I don't know if it'll be good for the movie, is apparently they did a lot of late reshoots because the movie was going to, like, basically end and kind of start with the first of his, like, abuse allegations that came up in the 90s. But according to a few articles I read, they actually had to scrap all that because one of his accusers from the 90s, there was like some lawsuit or whatever at the time, and in the lawsuit basically said that his name could not be used in any films or documentaries, anything like that, ever. Wow. And so I guess some Michael Jackson attorneys found this out pretty late in production and they actually had to well, I guess not even reshoot. They just took out a lot of
Had to
stuff.
completely shoot
Apparently-
everything else.
Yeah, apparently, like the very beginning of the movie, there was supposed to be a scene where it's like MJ in the '90s at like the Neverland Ranch, and so
Yeah.
anytime you see something like that really late in production, obviously that can be a little iffy for a movie.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see how it looks based off all that. But
That's
I'm
really
surprised
interesting.
I
I
didn't
didn't
hear
know
about
that.
that.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
didn't know. That's really cool though.
mhm.
That's such a pertinent piece of information for the attorneys to not
Yes,
know.
to not
I'll have to
know.
look into that
So-
more.
Yeah.
But
Especially if you're trying to be true to like, here's the turn of it. Like, here's the events that happened.
Yeah,
Like, I
so-
think there's a like really important thing, and yes, transparency, but also kind of like a very vulnerable thing, and like this is what this person went through, and kind of here's
Mhm.
what happened. So,
yeah,
wow, I didn't know that. I
Right.
should have read
yeah,
those.
and then obviously, like you said, it's definitely not touching anything that happened like in 2000. Because when was it that the I think it was an HBO documentary, The Chasing Neverland
Uh-huh.
or something like that, came out,
Yeah.
which I think kind of touched more on maybe like stuff that happened like even in the 2000s. But like you said, this is more just like his early life and
Yeah, it's
um,
interesting.
early
Well,
career, so.
I haven't seen that documentary, which I need to watch it. I don't have HBO Max, but what does that like cover? Because it's interesting, like if that,
I
like
don't
kind of
remember
what you mentioned, the
exactly.
lawsuit of
Yeah.
just like his name can't be used in something like that. I didn't know if it was like in that documentary, just saying like, hey, here's what was brought up and stuff.
Yeah, and that one might even be about different things. 'Cause
Yeah, it could be just about like his life.
Yeah, I know.
but-
I know. MJ had a couple things, but I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was called something.
I think
Neverland,
I
right?
thought you were right. I think it is Chasing Neverland. It's something to do with that. It's
Was it in
definitely
2017?
It sounds about right.
Was it Michael Jackson searching for Neverland?
searching for Neverland.
Leaving Neverland?
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of Michael Jackson content.
I was gonna say, this-
He is the
I was
king
gonna
of
say,
pop, after all.
This one's
so
a
that makes
Lifetime
sense.
TV movie, Searching for Neverland, which is about the last 2 years.
Probably
of his life.
there's literally probably
Oh, yeah,
like
no,
two of them.
Yeah, Leaving Neverland came out in 2019, two-part documentary focusing on allegations of sexual abuse. And these are, this is different ones than the one that caused these reshoots for.
Really? I'm wondering
yeah.
how like that might differ then. Like how it could be okay for something like that, but then not in a movie like this.
Well, like I said,
You know?
I think it was just because it was a different case. Like I
With
forget.
one
I,
specific.
yeah, I
With one
forget the name
specific
of the
person.
Yeah.
90s accuser, but yes, in the lawsuit that settled,
Okay.
it was like you're not using my name in anything, and so that's what caused the reshoots for this. biopic.
Interesting. So
Because
it wasn't just overarching
Right.
thing. It was this one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Mhm.
Because I was gonna say, it looks like this Leaving Neverland was like 2 specific boys that it was about.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen a little bit of that.
If I remember
Oh,
correctly, there was even some controversy about that documentary in itself.
Yes.
Like kind of how they,
sure.
how
Yeah.
they've portrayed. I don't remember. I guess when you kind of dive down that rabbit hole of MJ, it gets a little messy.
Oh
Obviously,
my
but-
gosh. I feel like I've tried to just to like
Yeah.
see, what happens.
Yeah.
I feel like when stuff like that happens, it's like you have to educate yourself on it.
Yeah.
But there's so much he said, she said, court of law things that it's like, good God, like you're never gonna.
Well, that's probably what took them so long to make the movies. They want to get it right.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That and how much legal stuff did they have to jump through, really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
to make something like this? I mean, even just the copyright for the music alone. I think about. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many good songs. How do you pick what performances? And also, like, how do you get the rights to those performances and those songs and stuff? I'm like, goodness gracious, I can imagine what that was like. So,
But no, like I said, I mean, if it's gonna keep going in the long list of biopics recently, I'm sure it'll be good, even reshoots aside. Because I have not seen Bohemian Rhapsody, but I've heard really good things about that
Yeah.
movie. One of the few ones I did see was, I think it was called The Dirt. It was on Netflix, a Motley Crue biopic. I saw that years ago. I thought it was all right. But yeah, like I said, it just seems like there's one coming out all the time now.
yeah,
so.
I think just like, just biopics in general. Like, I love seeing the real stories about a real person. Like, even if it wasn't, like, played by the actual person. I just think it's so cool to see, like, people, like, instead of just, like, a made-up movie about, whatever. Which, I love those, too. I love rom-coms, all things. But,
yeah, they did Ray with Ray Charles. That's
That's
I
right.
like
That
that one.
one's came out recently. Yeah.
Yeah, and then April 24th, Michael Jackson. Everyone excited?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so
very-
excited.
yeah,
Yes. I'm
like,
excited to see. Just watch it cinematically, I think, is going to be really cool.
What's the other movies you would want to see from any pop star music, either band or anything like that? Like you say you're a big Michael Jackson fan.
I'm sure if they ever did a Beatles one, that would
Yeah,
have a lot
that's
of
what I was
content.
thinking.
Yeah.
So they are doing a Beatles one, right?
Yeah.
Not sure.
There's one
Maybe.
coming
I thought
out.
you were
Really?
saying that facetiously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
happening.
There's one
yeah.
coming
I didn't
out.
even know that.
Yeah, they put out pictures of them looking like
Very
them.
Really?
controversial.
Paul Mescal is
Really?
playing
28.
Paul McCartney.
April 2028,
looks-
apparently.
2028?
Oh, okay,
Okay,
it says.
April.
Yeah.
Mark your
And Barry
calendars.
In
Barry
3
Kogan
years.
is playing Ringo.
Or 2 years.
Okay.
Wow.
I guess I'd be interested to see what span of time they do.
Yeah,
If
well, they're
if
already
they
getting
get
a lot of
into
flack
Yoko.
for how they
I
look.
mean, that movie might
Really?
be 8 hours long.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's another thing I thought was really
Each
interesting
individual
about
character,
this too.
yeah,
Right. Like,
has
how
their
do
own-
you, like, his lifetime was, I mean, how old was he really when he died? I don't even remember. I don't
Who?
even know.
Which one?
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Probably 50s,
50s,
60s.
yeah.
I'd say.
Somewhere,
Well,
I would think
I have
even
Jackson
younger than
5's
that.
old.
I'm gonna say Mike.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
look
say
up
early.
when was
I'm gonna
my-
say early 60s.
I feel like I
say
should know
49.
everything.
I'm going to say 45.
50.
Yeah. He was
Okay.
50.
He was
okay.
50.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So I was,
Oh, 9, yeah.
what was I looking into? What was I literally just lost my complete train of thought.
Artists, music, movie.
Oh, yeah, if I had to pick another one.
I would love.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just completely cut
No,
you
you're
off.
fine. Go ahead.
But I was like, okay, so 50 years of this guy's lifetime, and he was in music and pop for the entire span of his life, really.
Yep.
I mean, from Jackson 5 to literally when he died. It's like, how do you put all of
What
those
era?
years
Mm.
into 2.5 hours, which they're not. Like,
Yeah.
it's more so like, I heard somebody say, like, if this first one does well, they are going to release a second one
They should.
and do, like, from that moment to then,
Yeah.
his death.
Only 2 hours, 10 minutes total runtime for the.
Yeah,
for the
so it'll be
Go by so
interesting.
fast.
Yeah,
quick
no,
one.
seriously. So, and I don't know what's going to be the balance of, like, life and, like, performance. And, like, because I looked at the set list for it. I just sent Clayton that yesterday. Let me pull it up. But something really interesting about that is in another interview I saw that Javar said all of the performances they did in those first 2 weeks, like shot those first 2 weeks.
Wow.
So he was like, literally my first day of shooting was that Motown performance. And he was like, okay, so I have to now learn how to moonwalk. And that's also going to be my first day of shooting, which is crazy to me. But it's like you have, oh, maybe it's not. Oh, it's a picture. Whoops. Like Billie Jean's on there, Thriller's on there, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough's on there, Bad's on there. So it's like, are those all performances?
You're right.
And it's like, how is that going to be portrayed? Because there's also like
There's
5
so
or
many
6
songs.
Jackson 5 songs on there too. So
Yeah.
the balance is going to be really interesting. And also, like, I've seen a couple like side by sides of like Michael's performance, and then also like how does Jafar do it? And it's like, I even just like seeing him moonwalk, I'm like, okay, it doesn't look the exact same, but like that's as close as you could get. And let me not talk about that because I cannot even come close to doing it. So it's fine. But yeah.
So how did you get into Michael Jackson's music? Like, I don't know anybody who doesn't enjoy or at least respect
Right.
his performances,
Yeah.
but you are like really a hardcore fan. Like, you know the discography, the choreography. So
Yeah.
How did
No,
you
I
latch
just
onto
think it's
that?
so interesting. When I was younger, I loved music. Before I was like an athlete in anything, like I took voice lessons and I would be in choir and do the acting and stuff. And nobody really knows that side of me, so don't tell anybody. But I just loved, like, I think in this time, like, music is very not like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, he brings such a different spin on everything, and I feel like we don't see a lot of that. Like, a lot of artists can sing or could rap, but they can't dance, or they can't like entertain, or like you can like a person like for who they are, or like who they bring, but they can just sing, or like there's different ways you can connect to a person. But I think like when I was younger, I was just so amazed at one, like, I loved his music. Like, it was so different than anything that I knew, like, in the 2010s, 15, where in that, when it's, like, going back to 90s music, I was like, this is really cool. I love all of the different, horns and drums and beats and everything that's in all of his music. And then on top of that, like, just watching him, like, dance and the way he could, like, entertain people, I was like, this is so cool. And I wish we had a little bit more of that rather than just, like, say you go to concerts and people are just, like, walking around and, singing and, which is fine. But it's, like, seeing something like this where I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I didn't really, like, dive into all of the, allegations and stuff, like, till later, till I was, like, old enough to be aware of like, oh, this is really what happened with this guy. Who knows? So that's when I would still try to like educate myself on it. But at the same time, I was like Clayton mentioned, like you go down a rabbit hole of all this stuff and it's like, there's so much to read and like all of the trials and all of the, stuff. It's like, wow, this was also like one of the biggest pop stars in the world. And then this is also happening at the same time. There's people on both sides saying like, is this more of a like thing to take somebody out of the biggest stage in the world, or did this really happen and it needs to be addressed?
Right.
So I think that's something that has been the conversation for the past like 15 years, really. So it's interesting to look into. It's, I mean, obviously also sad, you know, really unfortunate that something like that could even have the possibility of happening, right? But I think for the longest time I've kind of separated like that piece of it and also like, okay, this was still like really a really cool, it's kind of like when I watched the Elvis documentary, I was like, okay, this is, Priscilla, like that, and you see a different piece of it. I was like, okay. But then you look at like who Elvis was as a performer and a singer, and it's like, oh my God, everybody loved this guy. But now saying this, I think it's kind of the same idea. Because when you look at who he was like as a performer, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Yeah. And so many people, you see so many like imitations of it. Like so many people are like going out and like trying to learn it and doing the look and doing the feel. And like people still go to these shows. Like my grandma wanted to take me to one. Aww. And I was like, sure, let's do it. It's not going to be him, but like it's going to be cool to see like him try. But
no, I mean, like you
so
alluded
cool.
to, I mean, we all were alive. Well, he was alive for, there was some overlap, but obviously I just don't think we'll ever be able to truly understand how big he was in the 80s. When Thriller came out. Right. I mean, honestly, probably only the Beatles, I would say, is the only thing I can think of that. I mean, I guess Madonna is super with Taylor Swift now, but I mean, there are a few bigger.
Like maybe like Elvis was like really big.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like the certain eras, you can't change that.
Like I can like listen to my grandpa.
Or you like
that
Prince,
too,
yeah.
Prince.
Like my grandma will talk about like Elvis, like she saw Elvis back in the day, and she was like,
I mean,
you don't
you'd love to see that.
understand like what it was like back then to like see him perform.
I feel like today, it's just not what it was.
Like I said, Taylor Swift's probably the closest. I mean, I'll never forget the Eras tour. I remember they were formed in Indy, and I think we got a story share from Fox 59 about this. Yeah. Where didn't some lady wear like a blanket over her head because she
was
didn't want
missing work and she didn't want her employer to know that she had skipped work to go to the concert.
And obviously they don't let the fans be as close to the artists as they would have been back in the day, where you see like people almost like basically touching the Beatles as they're all screaming.
And like back then, like you didn't have your cell phone stuff, so like getting there and traveling there and that kind of stuff, like it was so much more work to do it. Yeah. And so I just feel like the fan following back then was so crazy and people would follow people on their whole tour and travel with them
do
and
the whole
stuff.
thing. And it's like I feel like people could be a lot more present because of that.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody's sitting there like this, trying to
get
watch
every
clips
from the concert and stuff. Like you had to see him in person or you never saw him at all.
Yeah, so then that was a whole, another thing too. So, I mean, like I can listen to like my mom and dad talk about like, what was Michael Jackson like? Like, did you get to go see him? Anything of that. And they kind of said along the same things of just like, how can you even equate something like, it's just like.
So many legends.
That, it's just like the Michael Jordan talks about that stuff too. It's like,
But
my
when you saw
dad,
him in person.
yeah, my dad was like talking about him, and I was like, man, I wish I would have saw him in person too. Like when his documentary, not a documentary, it was like a 8-part series or something like
The
that.
Last Dance, yeah.
The Last
Yep, that
Dance
was good.
was amazing because I was like, man, basketball is nothing like this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so cool to see, like, there's so many different things, whether it's music, sports, anything of that nature. It's so cool to see, like, how things used to be and, like, what things are like now. Like, I think if I had to, like, equate somebody of, like, reach, I guess, it would definitely be, like, a Taylor Swift or, like, I was thinking more of, like, Drake either, of, like, a worldwide, like, presence and reach that he had. So, I mean, obviously those two are probably still not even touching, the
Michael
brink
Jackson.
of what he did. Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
So-
to combine like 3 or 4 artists to get what you
Seriously.
got. 'Cause, I mean, there's so many songs. Like you said, like I don't even know what to expect for the movie because like how much you're gonna be able to fit in
Right.
Yeah.
2 hours. It's like, what are you expecting for the movie? Is it
Yeah.
because I feel like expectations it might not meet them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so I'm trying not to like set an expectation for it because honestly, like I think there's gonna be things that like I watch in the movie that I didn't know about. Like for example, like yes, I know some Jackson 5 songs, but like I couldn't tell you a lot about Jermaine and the rest of, his brothers and sisters. So that'll be interesting to see too, like what their dynamic was. And then also kind of like how, what was the response of, and this is where I really hope they did like actually consult the family in of just like, what did this look like when he actually wanted to like be his own person? And like, what did that look like? How did the siblings react? And because like you can see so many different things like them talking or, stuff like that, but you never like actually know. So I think watching this is going to be interesting to like see. And then also I think my favorite thing is obviously just going to be the performances. And just like in one of the interviews said like it's Michael's track, but it's also Jafar's voice mixed into
I was
it.
going to ask about that. Yeah.
I was wondering the same thing, so I was
So-
thinking about Austin
yeah.
Butler singing in the Elvis movie.
I did
Yes.
hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he did say like the acapella parts is Jafar. Like it
That's
is his
awesome.
voice. But like the actual tracks, there is Michael's tracks in there. So it's not like you're gonna like hear a completely different person singing, but
I
it
mean,
is
you gotta
also
put
his
him in
voice.
there at least. I mean, it's
Oh
Michael
yeah,
Jackson.
yeah, because it's like, I mean, 2 years of just trying to even grasp what this movie needed.
I think that was
Of
a
course.
smart move. I think that makes it more believable to be able to immerse ourselves in the film if it's a mix, because then you're not like having to watch to see if Jafar is lip syncing or whatever, but
Yeah, he's
you're
actually
hearing
singing.
the music
Yeah.
and you're hearing the song. So
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I think like actually me and Lydia were talking about this yesterday of like we were even just trying to pick some of our favorite songs. And I think a lot of my favorite songs like aren't singles or aren't like his biggest hits. Like, are they amazing songs? 1000%. But like we were talking about like a song like Dirty Diana yesterday or like Chicago. I love both. Those are probably two of my favorite songs. It's like I don't think either of those are going to touch a film probably. And who knows? I hope I'm wrong. But I think that's going to be really cool to see like what his biggest stage could have looked like and like what those performances really look like. And you can also kind of like rely on it because he's working with the actual choreographers that Michael used. So it's not like he's just okay.
Yeah,
I
like,
have to
like I
study
said earlier,
this.
from what I heard, his camp and like whether it's the dancers or other, apparently had a
Yeah.
huge influence on this movie. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it'll be pretty faithful.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I think it'll be really, really cool. Really cool.
we also talked a little bit yesterday about The Greatest Night in Pop, the documentary on Netflix. It's one of my favorites from the time when Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie and Harry Belafonte and like 30 other pop stars came together to record We Are the World. And they use a bunch of footage that they had filmed from that night. And it's crazy to see all of those celebrities in one room together. performing and interacting and just them standing around waiting for their cues. Like, it's some really cool footage in there of Michael and everybody else who was involved.
That's gonna be really. I need to watch that.
Yeah.
We literally. You know what? I'm gonna watch that started on my lunch today.
You should.
I've decided.
I just
right
started
now.
I don't know how
rewatching
much time we have left.
20 minutes.
Okay, yeah, this is kind of random. This doesn't have to do with anything of Michael Jackson's music. But like 2 funny clips that I think of when I think of Michael Jackson. Maybe you guys have seen them. I think it's like a news package, maybe, or something like that. And somebody is following around Michael Jackson. He's in like this store with a whole bunch of very like high-end, ornate like pots and like dishes,
I know what you're
dishware and
talking
stuff. And Michael's just pointing around. And he's like, "I'll take that one. Ooh, I'll have that. I'll have that." I don't even. They maybe say at the end how much money he spent, but he's literally just. It's almost like he's just picking up a pack of M&Ms and gum at the
Oh gosh, I can only
at the
imagine.
gas station, and each one of these items is probably $100,000, if not more. And he's just like, "Yeah, I'll take that one."
I couldn't
Could
even
you
imagine
imagine
that
how much
wealth.
money? Oh, I couldn't even.
Yeah.
Like even
Big
now, I
thing to
can't even
think.
imagine having like how much money like Taylor Swift probably has and stuff like
That and it's like he had a monkey too,
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
yeah, I
makes
forgot
its
about
way to
that.
the movie.
Yeah.
which he's in the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
Wait, not
I
the
just
actual
wonder.
monkey.
No, not the
As
actual.
well, I don't know what the lifespan
I don't
of a
know,
monkey.
because I
was
think
gonna
the
say, I don't
monkey.
know what the lifespan is of a monkey.
Well, while she's looking
Look it
at
up.
the other story that's funny is I don't know if it was the Grammys or some award show in the 90s, and him and Eddie Murphy go up to present the award, and this is like Eddie Murray at his peak, like probably post like Raw and Delirious, like his 2 famous stand-ups. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is him in his prime, and I think MJ's talking, and he's kind of tall, and the mic's a little low. I think Eddie Murphy's pretty short. And he basically like looks to Eddie Murphy and asks him like, "Hey, can you adjust the mic for me while he's holding like the Grammy or something?" And Eddie Murphy kind of just laughs. Is like, I mean, this is Eddie Murphy, and my MJ's basically like, "Hey, can you move this for me?" Basically, like he's some stage production guy, and so, but it wasn't in a way that was rude,
Right.
But it was just
That's
it's
funny.
MJ,
Yeah.
Right.
So, and Eddie Murphy laughs it off and kind of points that out. Even he realized like, yeah, this is MJ. I'll adjust this mic.
That's
That
funny.
is so funny.
Yeah.
His name is
Bubbles.
Bubbles. Yes, and he is still alive. He is 41 years old.
Wow.
Oh,
And
monkeys.
he is residing at the Center for Great Apes in
Mhm.
Wauchula, Florida.
Okay.
Let me just read the Google AI.
We
here.
gotta take him out just to do the movie.
After living at the Neverland Ranch, he moved to the sanctuary in 2005.
Hmm.
He is now a 185-pound alpha male who enjoys painting, lounging, and playing with other chimps.
Wow.
Wow.
crazy.
185
Yeah, I was gonna
pounds?
say
Oh
that
my gosh.
thing would have tore MJ apart.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I didn't realize he was a chimp. I was thinking like one of the little monkeys.
Like a lemur or something.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he
It
was
was
like
like
a
one of the
little
little,
chimp
like,
with them. I
capuchins
wonder
or
if there's any
something.
pictures. Yeah, here they
A
are
chimp.
together.
Oh my
Can I like
gosh.
show this on here?
Oh yeah, I don't see why not. Wait, that don't even look real. That looks like a stuffed
Okay,
animal.
chimpanzees like freak me out. I'm not
Yeah,
Yeah,
gonna
can we get
lie.
this pulled up? Yeah, yeah.
They just
You
did
are-
a
No,
movie.
like there he is. Can you even think about that? Like having so many hits that it's like you kind of think about like if you had to go like let's go around like with your favorite Michael Jackson song, what would that be? Lydia, I'll start with you.
It's so hard to pick. I guess I'll go with Dirty Diana because we did talk about that yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's like when you try to think about that and encapsulate it, it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
it
it's
kind of
kinda like
changes
you've-
with the day.
No, seriously.
It's hard to have just one. Does anybody else want to share one?
I don't even know if it like 1,000% stands out above the rest, but I'd probably go Thriller.
I was gonna say mine.
Um,
That would be mine too,
yeah.
even though it's very like.
Either Thriller or Rock With You. I think Rock With You is really good.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Am I going too fast?
This is interesting.
Yeah,
That's
so that
also an interesting thing too.
yeah, so that one in August '93 is the one that caused the reshoots. That boy.
Interesting.
Yeah, like his name cannot be used in any
In anything.
any movie. At least according, like I said, the couple articles I read.
Interesting.
Very interesting, very interesting. And also, what is it?
And then
But-
wasn't or sorry.
Sorry, what were you going to
Well,
say?
no, wasn't there also some Michael Jackson movie that came out? I want to say around the time he died, called like "This Is It" or like
Yes,
The-
because what was the song?
which I've
that they
not
just listened to
seen,
earlier?
but I thought it maybe released new music through the movie, or because we were talking about the one song, or I guess that whole album he
Yeah,
released
so-
posthumously with Justin Timberlake.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
This was like the cover.
Mhm.
Have you guys heard Earth Song at all?
Mm-mm.
So it's like kind of along the same lines, which I think is kind of interesting too, because I'm not sure how many people write music like that anymore. But Earth Song is like essentially, you know, like what are we, you know, doing as humans,
Yeah.
you know, kind of what are we. And I think he wrote music that truly meant something, especially when you look at something like that, and also like a song like They Don't Care About Us, like songs like that. And I'm like, you know, there was some punch behind those songs
Yeah.
that,
Mhm.
you know, I'm sure not everybody was happy about,
Yeah.
but he still wrote them and performed them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I saw one of them was, I think Earth Song was the last thing he performed.
Oh wow.
Really? So,
Okay.
now I could be wrong with that, but
Yeah.
that's kind of just what I've seen, which is
Mhm.
very interesting.
Also crazy it took that long for the Jackson 5 and MJ himself to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, what is that, like 17 years?
I mean,
That's
yeah.
an
I think Thriller came out in
injustice.
'84, so I mean, he basically should have been inducted to the Hall of Fame in '85.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
like
Just
12
off
years,
that.
Jackson 5. I mean, something like that. I mean, they were.
I mean, they had some hits.
They were
I
together
mean,
for a while.
They were.
I Want You Back.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that was back
Yeah.
when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame still stuck to more actually rock artists and more
Yeah.
geared toward that genre, so there wouldn't have been
Like
as
a-
many contenders.
like a
I feel like it should have
AC/DC
been
kind of
easier
vibe.
to put them
Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like the 2000s facts probably aren't
2000s
gonna be,
probably
very good.
not the.
Not the way to go.
That's when things started going downhill.
I forgot about the November 2002. Yes, that if
I
that
was
would have
just
been
looking at
around
that
during
too.
social media, that would have been insane.
Yeah.
'Cause he's like holding it over the balcony, holding the baby. Like yeah.
And I'm wondering which one, which kid that was.
Well, that's what's interesting, like, with his family being so involved. Sometimes I'm like, when the family is so involved, it's like, I wonder what all they really will go into.
Yeah, like Paris, I think, for example.
Mhm.
Like, when the family, like, is sort of, like, approving everything, it's like, well, what will they really, like, fully dive into?
Yeah,
Because
and
obviously you
who-
don't want to show him in a disparaging light, but you also want to, like, be fully transparent
Yeah.
about what.
Oh, this is it, concert
going
tour.
on?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you
So
go.
This Is It was announced before he died. I don't
So-
remember. I didn't remember that.
Wow, yeah, and then he died a couple months later.
So this is it. When the film came out, it was like a concert movie.
Yeah, I think kind of like the one Taylor Swift thing. You
Mhm.
guys, yeah, so something similar to
Really?
that.
This is it was released, yeah.
Yeah.
Jackson's rehearsals.
Mm.
Kodiak Arrest, yeah.
Wasn't he, like, rehearsing the day before he died?
That's what I saw.
His Thriller jacket sold for 1.8 million in 2011. I can't even imagine what that would sell for now.
Oh, no, seriously.
I went to the Motown Museum in Detroit
Mhm.
last year, and they have some cool MJ memorabilia.
Really?
They have one of
Really?
his gloves there in the
Really?
glass box, and yeah, that was really cool to see.
This is so interesting, though, because I know so little about, like, his life, I feel like, after his death, because I did not know that his physician was charged with
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
involuntary manslaughter. I did
Yep.
not know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, there's a lot with that as well. A lot with that as well. 4-hour documentary? Good gracious.
There's
Yeah,
so
I was
much
going to say
content.
that when I was looking at that, that was like 3 hours and 50
Yeah, the
minutes.
Jackson family releases a statement condemning Finding Neverland. Yeah.
Huh.
Those were interesting.
I had no idea the Pittsburgh Penguins
I was
co-owner
just gonna
bought
say that.
Neverland. That's random.
That's so niche. Well, and then we were talking about the Beatles earlier. One of the Beatles owns all of MJ's music. Doesn't Paul McCartney own?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who owns it. But yeah,
Um,
January of 24, that's when production began for Michael.
Right.
Sony Music Group.
No, it'll be interesting. I think.
Wow.
Hmm.
$600 million sale of the singer's catalog. Wow.
To me, does that seem low?
Maybe a little.
Kind
bit.
of.
Like, obviously, that's a ton of money, but
Oh,
considering
it's
it's
so much
Michael
money,
Jackson,
but you have all of Michael Jackson's music?
yeah.
Oh, wait, it was half.
So
Oh,
I mean,
half
so
of-
one,
okay.
so 1.2.
the other
Okay.
half of the catalog
Even then.
might still be.
This says that Michael Jackson outbid McCartney.
I got it twisted.
For the Beatles
Yep.
catalog
Completely turned around.
for
Yeah.
$47.5 million.
That's pretty ruthless, actually.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But Sony Music later acquired them
Okay.
from Jackson's estate in 2016.
Mm.
Yeah,
But
so
he
then
let
that's
him
what
outbid
it
him
would've been,
pretty
I'm sure.
much. That's crazy.
You know how
Yeah.
rich you gotta be to outbid
Oh.
Paul McCartney?
For his own music, for their own music.
For his own music.
But how
That's
does that
kinda-
even
that's
happen?
wild.
Like, how does that even happen, though? That is so crazy to me.
Right.
Like, that's just nuts.
Yeah, the production budget estimated to be over 155 million for Michael.
That's a lot.
Really?
That's a lot.
Yeah, and they started in what 24, so
And,
Yeah, they've
and I'm sure the late reshoots probably didn't help either.
I'm
That's
sure-
all, but
I'm sure an
I-
Oscar nomination will be coming his way because
Yeah, that
almost
and then
always
think
with
about
these
it.
biopics.
They probably started before production was probably like
Right.
21, 22, and then before that, when did he acquire the rights to do the
Yeah.
movie?
This has really probably been a decade in the
Worth
making.
of work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
hang on. Forced reshoots that added 15 million to the
Oh, my.
budget.
Just a cool 15 mil.
That is
Yeah, and yeah, this is one of the articles talking about where they find the lawsuit clause.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
I wonder how they did
Third
the
act
movie
of
though.
the movie.
yeah, like I said, I think the opening shot was supposed to be kind of a tie-in to the end of the movie, which the third act was gonna be about that. So
Wow.
a good portion of the movie. Now I don't know if it was supposed to be maybe like a 3-hour movie, and you said the runtime was like
Yeah,
a
that-
hair over
2:10.
2.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they danced around it.
Well,
It
it-
says it will revolve around the music and Jackson's troubled relationship with his father, Joe, but it also allegedly touches on Jackson's painkiller abuse as well. Interesting. I saw that too. Jackson's daughter Paris criticized the sugar-coated biopic of her father, saying it.
Ooh.
Yeah. 3 children, they were not involved with the making of this movie.
Huh. Biggest budget movies. Yeah, that's what it is. Oh man,
That's interesting.
that is crazy.
Yeah. Imagine like being one of his kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like Paris, well, she looks exactly like him. Like, have you seen a picture of her at
Mm-mm.
all?
Yeah.
She looks
Very
so
similar.
like her
Really?
features and stuff. I'm like, and people are like have come out and said, "Oh, that's not Michael Jackson's daughter." I'm like, have you seen her? Like even just even that bottom right picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. I couldn't imagine being like this son or daughter of.
Yeah.
Michael
I just
Jackson.
don't know what to expect now after like knowing it's like
Well,
$155 million
how many
production.
articles are probably out there about this movie though.
Mhm.
too?
Oh, I don't doubt it, but like I mean,
So it'll be interesting to see. I'm just excited to like. I'm also kind of like trying to like not read as much into it as like,
Yeah, you're
with
gonna
the
overblow
opinion
it.
pieces
You're
because
you're
I'm
gonna
like,
blow it up.
okay, I read all this stuff and then I'm gonna go and then I already have a preconceived notion about it. Like
Right.
I'd rather just watch it
Yeah.
and then be like, okay, I can make my own.
Yeah.
Like, did I like this kind of thing?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like after thinking about it, it's gonna either be great or disappointing. I don't think there's gonna be an in between.
I don't think
It's not
there's
gonna
an
be
in-between.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's gonna be like amazing or it's gonna be like awful.
Yeah.
But I feel like it has to be from the interviews, like from what you were talking about, Courtney.
Yeah.
It has to be good.
Or I'm like, I couldn't imagine being like somebody like Jafar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being
Going
his
through all that
nephew.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not making sure it's the best
Perfect.
piece of work
Right.
that you
Mhm.
could put out.
I hope that
Yeah.
he is like genuinely had a good time making this and
Yeah.
has felt closer to his
Yeah.
family because of it or whatever positivity could come out of it because I'm
Yeah.
sure he's already been hit hard with critiques no
Oh.
matter what, no matter how it turns
No
out.
matter
like,
what he does, like I saw
Yeah.
one video of like there is like a screen grab of like him moonwalking and he slightly puts his head forward as he's going back and people are like already saying that.
What?
I'm like, who's to say Michael Jackson never like
None of those people
went
can
his head.
moonwalk.
Well, even
Yeah,
just
I mean-
beyond like the fan critique, because I guess I'm trying to think of it. So Paris would be his cousin.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not just some random fan critiquing.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
and she's saying I don't, she's
yeah.
critiquing the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like
I can imagine that would hurt worse than random people who
Yeah.
don't know anything about your life. So.
Yeah.
which is crazy. It's crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
So.
April 24th, right?
Coming up.
Yep.
April
Oh
24th.
boy. Well, that's all the time we got for this episode of Watching with Wayne. For Courtney, Clayton, Logan, Lydia, and me, I'm back from the skiing. Crazy, but great episode. Michael Jackson, we'll probably talk about it after, but thank you all for joining. Until next time.
This is Watching with Wayne.